Hi, in this video we'll be looking at adding decimals. And this little graphic over here is pretty much what we're going to do. We are going to be given some decimals. We are going to put them one underneath each other and pretty much just add them and making sure that our decimal places are underneath each other. And that's pretty much it really, just add as usual and we should get our answers out. Alright, so we can add 0.3 to 0.6 by doing the following. We can take 0.3 and we want to add 0.6 to it. So the important thing here is to make sure that our decimals are underneath each other, so they're in line with each other, and that we are setting it out properly. Alright, so all we then need to do is simply add 3, add 6, and that gives us 9. Bring down our decimal place, and once again making sure our decimal place is in exactly the same place. And what is 0 add 0? 0 add 0 is still 0, and that should be our answer. Alright, well, what about adding 12.4 to 7.8? Well, nothing really changes. We simply write 12.4 added to 7.8. Now the important thing to remember here is that my decimals are underneath each other. These are all tenths, so they're in the right place, decimal place, and then these are our ones, they're underneath each other. Then we'd have our tens, and if we had hundreds and thousands and so on, they would go underneath each other too. The next thing we'd need to do is just simply add. Alright, so 4 add 8, and that gives us 12. Bring down my decimal place because it's in exactly the same spot all the way through. Alrighty. 2 add 1 is 3, add 7 is 10, and 1 add 1 is 2, and the answer therefore of 12.4 add 7.8 is 20.2. Now what if we had a decimal place into the thousandths, like these ones over here? Well, nothing again really changes. So we're just going to simply write our decimals as we normally do. So 8.932, and I want to add 19.361. Alright, so I want to add all that together. What is important is that my thousandths are underneath each other, my hundredths are underneath each other, my tenths are underneath each other, decimal place underneath each other, ones, tens, and so on. And now all I need to do is simply add. So I'm going to go 2 add 1, and that will give me 3. 3 add 6 is going to give me 9. 9 add 3 is going to give me 12. Decimal place. And now we're going to add our ones up. So 8 add 1 is 9, add another 9, 9 is 18, and 1 add 1 is 2. So the answer for 8.932 added to 19.361 is 28.293, and that is correct. So now what do we do if we add decimals and we've got some that are in the hundreds and we've got some that are in the thousands? Alright, put the video on pause, give it a go, and come back when you're ready to see if you got it right. Alright, how did you go? Well, if I wanted to add those two decimals together, there's two ways I could do it. I could do it this way or this way. I know some people like to add the numbers as they flow in the actual sentence. Others like to put the bigger number on top and the smaller number underneath, and that's fine. One thing that we've got to remember is that this only has 2 decimal places and this number has 3. Likewise in the sum, this one has 3 decimal places, this one has 2. So the best thing to do here is to make sure that we put a 0 in the thousandths column, and that way when we're adding up our numbers in the various columns, we're adding them up with a number. Okay, we can, if we want to, in fact, put a 0 in front of this number and in front of this number. Makes no difference with the hundreds or the tens column, which is over here. Makes no difference. We don't have to have them if you don't want them. So up to your choice, really. Alright, so I'm simply going to add this. So 0 add 3, that's going to give me 3. 3 add 1 gives me 4. 6 add 7, well 6 and 6 is 12, and 1 is 13. Now I put in my decimal place because I'm making sure I'm keeping all my decimals one underneath each other. Alrighty, so 1 add 2 is 3. 3 add 4 gives me 4, 5, 6, 7. 3 add nothing gives me 3, and 1 add nothing gives me 1. And of course this sum over here is pretty much exactly the same as this. We've just written numbers in a different sequence. So I'm just going to add them up. So 3 add nothing is 3. 1 add 3 is 4. 7 add 6 is 13. And make sure I bring my decimal place down. 4 add 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. 0 add 3 is 3. 1 add 0 is 1. They're both exactly the same, so either way you do it, you're going to get it correct. So just reiterating that the most important thing to do is to make sure that your decimal places are underneath each other, that your tenths, hundredths, thousandths are all underneath each other, your ones, your tens, your hundreds, and so on. If you do that, you will have no problem getting these sums absolutely correct, because all you need to do is add as normal, making sure your decimal place is in the correct place. That's all.